Hey y'all, I'm back with another underrated gem. My name is Sarah and I love to talk about movies, and today we're going to talk about Sweetheart. Sweetheart is a Blumhouse production, which immediately had me like, I don't know. But first, so Sweetheart is one of those Blumhouse productions that's like small cast, small budget. The main story is very simple. A young woman washes up on a beach somewhere. Her days are spent recovering any stuff that washes ashore and seeing if she can use it, trying to find a way to find food and fresh water. The first night on the island, she notices a few things that are odd. It's her second night when she realizes that there's something else that stalks the island at night. Around the second and third day, she did find a body that washed up on the beach. She knew him, recognizes him, and decides to use his body as bait for whatever it is, and hides nearby to see if she can get a good look at it. It's a monster, y'all. It's something that comes out of the ocean, comes up on land, hunts, and then goes back into the ocean. In addition to hunting for food, getting fresh water, she is finding multiple ways to hide from this thing at night. Sometimes up in the trees, sometimes like down below. She'll like dig and camouflage her space. One night she hid in the trunk of a tree. Eventually she figures out that it's either her or this thing, and to figure out a way to kill it. Soon after that, two more survivors show up, Mia and Lucas. They were lost at sea, and it turns out it's her boyfriend and one of his friends. After they've had time to settle in, she tells them that they have to go, that they cannot stay there. Mia and Lucas are like, look, I'm not getting back on that raft. They don't believe her about the monster. They think that she's lost her mind being alone on the island and that she's exaggerating the danger there. So they decide to restrain her and then, get got. She manages to get away and comes up with a plan to set traps for this thing, to hurt it, to weaken it so that she can kill it. She ends up setting a good chunk of the island ablaze in order to accomplish this. She manages to wound it enough to land a killing blow. Exhausted, tired, and hurt, she wanders away while the island burns. Camera moves further and further away from her, and you can see how high the fire is and how much smoke is in the air, and we continue to move further and further away, and that's how the movie ends. The movie is very straightforward. She washes ashore. The reason why she was out there is because she was on a yachting trip with some kids from her school. Something happened, there was a storm or something, and they had to abandon the yacht. And she's on this island alone. Well, not entirely alone. Every day, new things will wash up on the island, and she would, look for things that she can use. Everything progresses in a very natural kind of way. At first, she calls for help, and then she realizes, girl, can't nobody hear you. So she's working things out for herself on her own, even on that first day. What I appreciate about this film is that it is so straightforward. There are some twists to the story. We don't need to know where the monster came from, the creature came from. We don't need to know what made it. We don't need to know if there are more. We know this one is here, and this is the one that is a threat to her. So there are all these things that I like about the story that are not explained to us as the audience. Like the thing. What does it want? To eat her. It's as simple as that. She's big food. Her finding evidence of other people on the island and their things still being there also makes sense. If you're not aware of what visits the island at night, then of course you might think, oh wow, this is a really cool place to sit and hang. I mean, they had a cooler, they had bags and stuff. It seemed a lot more purposeful, their things being there. Not like her, where she's finding suitcases and, dragging them ashore. She made a valiant effort to explain what was going on. They did not believe her. They thought that she lost her mind. They knocked her unconscious and restrained her. She tried to take the raft. She's like, if you guys don't believe me, that's okay. I'm taking this raft and I'm going. Evidence of a struggle inside that raft. No explanation, but we assume that we know what happened. The other guy that washed ashore was probably the third man on that raft. The suspicious way that Mia and Lucas kept looking at each other, like making a lot of eye contact and all that, it said a lot without saying a lot. We can assume that outside of the whole being lost at sea thing, bad things happened on that raft. Do we need to know specifically what happened? No, we don't. We don't need that. Not for this situation where the biggest concern is a sea monster. I do like that we have that black hole at the bottom of the ocean. I do appreciate that. It adds a mysterious element, like, is that where it came from? Where does it lead? We don't need to know, but seeing it there, it's like a bridge between what is possible and what is impossible. It is impossible for this thing to exist, and yet it does, so there must be other elements to it existing. She don't care about none of that, and that's fine. Her only concern is like figuring out its weaknesses, figuring out its strengths, and how she's going to survive. Day after day, that's exactly what she's focused on. I also appreciate that her character is working things out silently. In a lot of lost at sea survival kinds of films, people start talking out loud and working out things out loud, and some people very obviously miss the sounds of other people around. But I appreciate that is not something that she felt the need to compensate for. That when she accomplishes something, she celebrates that. That when she is disappointed by something, you can see it. That, I think, is what really made her character different. She has a kind of built-in resilience that sets her character apart, I think, especially because we learn that she's a college student, that I guess she dropped out of school, and that she has had difficulty adapting socially. But we learn all this later on. But none of those things would prevent her from doing what she got to do to survive. And that, I think, is what I really like about the character. Also, I appreciate how dark the movie is. It has always bugged me that in movies where all you have is starlight and firelight, that scenes can be as bright as they are in a lot of these movies. This movie is dark. I would actually watch this movie with like all the lights out so that you can actually see. I think that is part of what makes the monster aspect of this so successful, is because there's not a lot of light, so you're not exactly sure at first of what you're hearing and what you're seeing. I would give Sweetheart a solid 3 out of 5. I wish there was a little bit more either at the beginning of the story or at the end of the story, because at the beginning, she is coming out of the water. Everything that happened prior to that is all secondhand, and it's all coming from unreliable narrators, because it's just like a little bit more to the story that I wish that we had. But otherwise, I think it's really entertaining. It's definitely worth a watch. But let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for spending your time here with me today. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you all next time.